Now to build my amp rack, it's going to go right in the center of this trunk, right in the well, and that well is about 2 inches deep. And I really want to take advantage of all of the space in that little area there. Now to do that, I'm going to use this same technique that a lot of people have been using, and basically I'm just making a template. I'm going to use a piece of cardboard, which I have right here. I'm going to throw that in there and make sure that I have a good template so I can trace that over the wood and cut out a nice piece of plywood that's going to fill up all of the space in there. So I'm starting to shape this cardboard around some of the contours because it's not a completely flat surface in the bottom of this well. There are some little bumps here, so I'm actually just going to take off a couple of those corners and make sure the rest of it sits flush. Alright, so there's the finished template. It's a pretty good fit. It's about as good as it's going to get, actually. Uses up just about every bit of space in the bottom of that well. And I'll trace that onto plywood and cut out a nice amp rack. Now these amplifiers are actually different sizes, just slightly. The mono subwoofer amplifier is just a little bit smaller than the 2-channel. So what I'm trying to do here is line up the JBL logos, since a lot of the what's going to be exposed under the cosmetic panel will not really be the edges of the amplifiers, but more or less the center of the amps. So I want to at least get those centered. Okay, so the amps are mounted to the amp rack. That turned out perfect. Everything is in place, just need to wire it up. Now guys, I'm wrapping things up with my wiring on the amp rack here, and something I'm not real crazy about is having the logos on my distribution blocks and fuse boxes. So I'm actually going to just rub these right off. I'll show you how to do that. A little bit of nail polish remover is really all that you need. So this stuff is just really good to have around. So as you can see, these have the install gear logo on them, and I'm just going to rub this right off. So check this out. Look at that. Gone. So if you want to try this on your own distribution blocks, it's really that easy. I'm making a bracket to mount the battery fuse onto, and this is going to be attached using the bolt to the antenna. And here it is mounted with the carpet in place. This is going to be right here. And here's the battery fuse mounted onto the bracket that I made. It's right next to the battery. In fact, it's just about as close as you could get to the positive terminal. Alright, so I just finished cutting out the cosmetic panel and doing a quick test fit, make sure everything lines up correctly. And it's not perfect, but it's good enough. I'm actually going to cover this in carpet, do the plexiglass window, then I'll put it back in and show you the finished result. Alright, the carpet's over the panel. Looks pretty good. Next step is to add the plexiglass to that window that'll cover the amps.